Hey, what's up? This is Chosen. Hope you're having an amazing day. This is going to be a Diablo 4 video showcasing something that I'm super excited about, a style that I've always liked to play in RPG games like this. I can finally dive in and sink my teeth into the Summon Necromancer. So I'm going to give you my first impressions, my first thoughts, first showcase of the Summon Necromancer, show you the build that I'm using initially here, and talk about the play style and what I think about the Summon Necro so far. Let's get into it. Alrighty, so first of all, I'm just going to showcase the build really quick and what it looks like as we are wrapping up a dungeon. This is going to be an Animus dungeon where I killed the Animus carriers and then I fought that little boss room, and now I've got to free these 7 prisoners and fight the boss that spawns, and then I will be done. So as you can see, we've got our summons just going up in front of us. We drop blights to make them take increased damage from our summons, and then also I've got a version of Corpse Explosion where I can turn it into like an AoE bloodbath or a poison cloud that does a bunch of damage. So let's go around here and let's do these prisoners. You also want to keep an eye on the numbers on the bottom right. They will tell you if you are currently maxed out or not on your summons. If the numbers are green, you're good to go. You can see I've got the green 6 and the green 3. That means that I'm at max capacity and I don't have to worry about summoning more. So if those numbers aren't green, you want to use a corpse to keep your minions up and make sure to have as many minions obviously as you can at a time, and then make sure you've got your golem running around as well. You have to complete the quest. I'll talk about some of this stuff when I go over the Book of the Dead, but you have to complete your Book of the Dead quest to get your golem. It's pretty straightforward. It only takes a few minutes, and I believe it unlocks at like level 15. Okay, and we're down to a couple more left. Here's like a mini boss. We're going to drop a blight on them, and if there's any corpses around, we want to turn that into AoE, and then we want to spam on them, and boom, pretty straightforward. We make quick work of them with our minions and the different synergies that we have going on. Seems like a very powerful build so far. I did play the sorcerer last weekend, and that felt strong as well with the hydras and everything, but this build definitely cranks out a lot of damage as well. So we've only got 2 prisoners left, and down here, this will be the last 2, and then we will fight the boss of the dungeon. It's like the alpha wolf, so we go 1 and 2, and we'll fight the boss. Hopefully get a legendary or something, and make quick work of it. We're going to drop a blight, make sure we're full on summons, then we're going to turn our corpses into the AoE, and look how quick we absolutely demolish the boss of the dungeon. So that's kind of like the gist and the beginner basics of what it looks like as you're clearing content with all of your summons running around and the different spells that we're casting. So now let's head into town and take a look at the different mechanics and stuff you're going to want to keep in mind, and maybe some skills to consider. Okay, so first of all, a couple things that you really want to take note of here with the Summon Necro is when you open up your abilities tab, you're going to have this Book of the Dead section. Now, you've got some different choices here for your Skeletal Warriors, and the one that you pick will change the damage type, so definitely take note of that. And then also the same thing under the Mages right here. You can see that when I hit close, it's going to tell you what they are: my Reaper Skeletal Warriors, my Bone Skeletal Mages, and all of that. And when you mouse over your Raised Skeleton right here, you can see that my Reaper Warriors are doing physical damage and my Bone Mages are doing physical damage. You want to obviously take note of that if it's shadow damage or whatever, so that you can synergize as you're putting together your abilities tree. And then also this golem down here in the Book of the Dead will not unlock until you do a certain quest that pops up, and you'll have to go over there and you gather some bones and whatnot. It only takes like 5 minutes, but you will have to do something special out of the way. It'll show up in your quest journal when you unlock like level 15, and that's how you get your access to golem. But then after that, it can be a little bit confusing, and you want to open up your skills bar, which on the PC is S for skills, and then it will show you right here, and you will unlock the golem in here that you will want to drag down onto your bar. You can see right here, this is where golem will pop up, and then I had to access that and drag it into my bar. It'll be a little bit confusing right away because you won't see it in your abilities tree. Like in here, if you're looking for golem, you'll be like, where is it? You have to actually do the quest, then hit skills, pop that up, and then drag golem onto your bar. And I'm giving you kind of a first look at the Summoning Necro, so I'm still going to do a little bit more testing and try to optimize things as best I can. But for a first iteration of the build here, for me diving in on the beta, pretty straightforward. I went with Decompose because there is an ability here in Decompose that you and your minions deal more damage to enemies who are being decomposed. So as long as you're spamming that on a boss or something, you're going to be increasing the damage of all of those minions that you have. So that is a super synergistic choice to go for the summoning style. Then we we come down here, I think Blight is amazing because you can see the modifier. It's going to slow enemies, and then also you and your minions deal more damage to enemies that are within a Blight when it spawns that pool on them. So very good synergistic ability to go along with the summoning style. I did want to also pop one into Hued Flesh because I'm using the Corpse Explosion that is going to turn it into a exploding, vile, poison, cloud type thing that does damage over time. So I can constantly be proccing those all over the battlefield to either do AoE damage to a bunch of mobs or also in a boss fight. Now, if you like the more standard traditional style of Corpse Explosion, nothing wrong with that. I just wanted to try this out to get the consistent DOT damage. We also take the Skeletal Warrior Mastery. Obviously, that is huge if you're playing a summoning style. And then I also wanted to scoop up the Fueled by Death, dealing increased damage every time that we consume a corpse for 4 seconds. Obviously, if you're doing a corpse every 4 or 5 seconds or so, that is a good synergistic node to have. And then we're obviously going to be taking the Skeletal Mage Mastery as well to get big damage from the mages, also besides the skeletons. And I like to get 1 point in the Reaper's Pursuit. I didn't have enough points to max everything out, but you get a little bit more movement speed by using a darkness skill, which our default is a darkness skill in this build. And then down here, I didn't really take anything yet. So pretty simple in terms of what I went with on the abilities tree, just to test out the quick first iteration and get some first thoughts on the Summon Necro. For some of the legendaries and aspects that you're going to want to focus on, obviously anything like this, your maximum number of skeletal warriors is increased by 2, is going to be amazing when you can get more and more minions on the summoning style. I'm going to be trying to min-max that this weekend and really get the best possible legendary aspects. I've only been able to grind for 1 night, and I had a bunch of horrible problems with disconnects. I literally probably spent 8 hours in queue. I'm not exaggerating. So I barely could play, and I wanted to get a first look at the Necro based on the amount of testing I was able to do. And now I'm going to be trying to enter that phase where I start min-maxing here during the beta and getting all of the aspects that I really want on here. And then I can try to get like the best ultimate leveling build for the Necro. But yeah, it's pretty straightforward and it feels pretty strong. It feels good to play. I really enjoy the summoning style. Basically, the flow is you just drop a Blight. The pool right here that you see spawning in right there, all these, like that little pool right there, that is your Blight pool, and anything standing in there will take increased damage from your minions. And then also you can that's like the poison from the corpse explosion. You constantly pop those to get the AoE damage and anything kind of standing around there, so you get that super consistent AoE presence from both the corpse explosion and the Blight. And then you just got to watch the bottom right and make sure your summons are maxed out. And like right there, you see it's a gray number, so I need to summon a couple mages. So boom, we summon a couple skeletons and we are off and running, and we are able to just spam Blight if we have essence, do a little bit of extra damage, and boom, pop any boss just like that. We might as well just show you completing this event. We run around, we make sure our summons are maxed out. It's also super good for just lazy event farming. You don't really have to do much. Your minions will run around and do a ton of work as long as you keep them up. And then here is the boss. We want to drop a Blight on that for sure. And some AoE corpses. Boom, GG, event, boss dead. So yeah, that is my first thoughts on the Summon Necro and the build that I went with as I'm initially testing it. A lot of fun so far. It feels super strong. It feels like it's going to be a great option for leveling in Diablo 4, even when the game goes live. Now, obviously, we're going to have to test, is it viable in the end game? Are the minions going to fall off later on and when we're level 50 or whatever, and we're trying to really get crazy in some of the end game content? But as of leveling and as of early game, so far it feels good, and I haven't even gone like that next level of getting every single legendary aspect and really unlocking the true power. So definitely feels very strong, and I'm enjoying it so far. But let me know your thoughts down below, and remember to subscribe on your way out if you enjoy daily Diablo content. I'll see you soon in the next video. Thanks for watching. Peace.